Welcome to Center of Light. Everything's backwards. Foundation. You are the tribe, you are the nation. It's we. Hello, all you sexy, beautiful human souls. Tonight is merge into the absolute. It's going to be short. It's going to be powerful. To the point. Lots has been happening in my life, our lives, but as a teacher for myself, I would love to share with you what's been taking place for me in the last 2 weeks, more so the last week, more so in the last couple days. After the New Year's, I went into hibernation, sleeping a lot, covers over my head. I live in a two-bedroom apartment, but I live my life in this room, in this chair. No need to run the AC or the heater unit. I have a little space heater over there because the microphone's right here. Snuggle in, snuggle up, buckle up, take off the seatbelt all at the same time. I've been doing a particular ritual most spiritual teachers, masters know about, and I've done them for many years. But it was only by recent instruction that I now begin to do it with all the fervor and muster, cojones I have. And things are miraculously, naturally beginning to happen in ways I'm so excited about. So much so, I want to share it with you that without a doubt, it is time to merge into the absolute. All religion without fail, hello Dana Trotter, all religion without fail points to this goal, this end game, this journey, this absolution of merging into it. You ready for this? I'm warning you, there is no turning back. Good for you. Good for me and we're going to get right into this. You can find Center of Light Foundation on Roku. Go to your Roku setup and go to channel search and look up Center of Light Foundation, or you can look up hashtag Center of Light, all one word. Here we go. I was going to say you can bring out a notebook, a notepad, but you have this video as a reference. Hello, Rena Winfield, Field, love Rena, Adana, Vicky, Donna, Dana, and I do know for a fact only few will hear this call. In fact, in a few days from now, you can come back and look at this presentation. Compared to the amount of viewership I get for these videos, you will see a small percentage, because it belongs to you, and fortunately we, to glean this magic. Here we go. I'm excited. I'm a little puppy dog wagging his tail in a window about to be bought at the pet store. So in my hibernating, things have been happening. For those who are just awakening, the awakening itself is the miracle. Then miracles happen everywhere. For those who have been awakening for a while, they don't seem to happen as much. But, ironic, our liberation lies in being a slave to the divine, and vice versa, the divine being a slave to us. It's an amalgamation. It is a covenant. This is where we are. This is where I am for sure. Without purpose, man does not live well. Without purpose, man does not live well. Without purpose, man cannot be born at all. Purpose is the reason for anything. It is the force that drives everything. How to transform the ego, your fear-based thoughts you have about yourself and the world, which is projection. When you see your ego, the part of you that is separate, alone, and detached, when you see your ego as a vehicle to help others, your ego is transformed into purpose. For without ego, can there be no purpose? So the ego has a very valuable role. One for all and all for one. And I personally, for myself, choose the something beyond anything that will lead me to everything. Your purpose is not what you bring home as a paycheck. Your purpose is what you were put on earth to do with such intensity, living in the fire, with such intensity and passion that it becomes your spiritual calling. My spiritual calling for Center of Light Foundation, being of service. Without food, there is no life. Without shelter, there is no comfort. Without proper education, there is no point. And without purpose, one can never be born. God's face will become visible as we unite. Thank you, Glenn Babin. We'll get to some more of that here shortly. But we have to unite first. Then we will see all the moving parts we call people get into alignment with their passion. That is when the well-greased divine purpose wheel will perpetually turn as the earth does on the earth as it is. My brother Glenn Babin says, I feel sorry for people who are incapable of feeling the joy of helping others. Years ago, we were all like family. Everybody looked out for one another. We need to go back to that. We have to do better at looking out for each other instead of breaking each other down. Oh my God. This is what tonight's presentation is about. Aligning with true spiritual purpose. Seva, being of selfless service. God energy. God is always about serving, and in such a way, as I mentioned before, when you align yourself with the absolute truth, God becomes your slave because you have captured him, it, her, in your heart. Many spiritualists will say, you shouldn't try to save the world. Just save yourself, and in doing so, you will save the world. And I say, incorrect answer. We can all use more practicing to save ourselves, but many people do not know how to do that. Well, you can do just that by helping others, and in doing so, you will become lit. In this way, two things become affected directly, you and them. That one thing you do very well, that talent of yours, you might be a phenomenal carpenter and you know it, a phenomenal artist and you know it, a phenomenal whatever and you know it. That one thing, use that to lift others. Then you will consciously align yourself with the source of creation and the fulfillment of the greatest purpose. You can call it, reaching my highest potential through service. That is not only your calling, but God's calling to everyone on the planet. Why do we feel such joy in giving and seeing that smile on people's faces when we do such things? Because it's service energy, which is God. And if you remain in feeling God's service, the joy will come to you that will continue to abound and reflect in every area of your life. So if you're a carpenter, an artist, a painter, whatever it is, a server of food, whatever you do, you will become more lucrative in this aspect of yourself. Becoming. Tonight's presentation is merge into the absolute. Merging with the absolute is a concept that has been explored in many spiritual and philosophical traditions. It refers to the idea of becoming one with the ultimate reality. This is what has been happening to me in the last couple weeks, more so the last week, more so the last couple days. It refers to the idea of becoming one with the ultimate reality or the universe, God. Here are a few ways to work towards this goal. Practice meditation. This is one of the most effective ways to quiet the mind and connect to the present moment. When the mind is calm, which is coming up, I'm going to share with you something so powerful, you will die. The you that you know is you is going to die. God bless you. My condolences. The most effective way is to quiet your mind and connect to the present moment. When the mind is calm, it is easier to let go of the monkey, and merge with the absolute. Cultivate mindfulness. Seek knowledge. Cultivate self-awareness. Ultimately, merging with the absolute is a lifelong journey. This is meant in the context of it can be, but now we have the power of the collective united human momentum behind us. We can make this happen a lot quicker. Ultimately, merging with the absolute is a lifelong journey that requires patience, 30 plus years for me, perseverance, and a willingness to let go of the monkey, doubt, fear, and judgment. With practice and dedication, you can achieve a deeper understanding of the nature of reality and your place within it. So here we go. Actually, I am going to take a break. I'm winded. And when I do return, I am going to share with you this technique, Hello Melinda, that has not only changed my life, changing me, rearranging me on levels I don't understand, but I don't care to understand. You deserve this wisdom, this knowledge, this impact. And I have no doubt if you put this into practice, it's not about how much time, it's about how far inside you go and willing to lose everything you know about yourself. And even if you want to dabble with this idea, I promise you, if you adhere to this, something is going to happen. No joke. I'll be right back. It is a choice. I am so happy for you.
Remember that all things are possible. You must choose to be accountable, responsible, enough to believe, and open your heart to receive.
Above and look at your life, and you see the life you live, can you be surprised that it all turned out this way and not the way you planned? It's about what you know and what you understand. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Learn to follow that inner voice inside. That's the one that's telling you not to run and hide. See what your life could be when you visualize. It's about what you choose that you'll realize. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Now it's time for you to plan out your life. Seeing what you do by your own design. It's all up to you to make it what you can. It's of your own free will, what don't you understand? Choice, life's a choice. It's your choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's your choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's your choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's your choice. Make a
Welcome back to Center Light Foundation. Tonight we are speaking about merge. Everything's backwards, it's strange as heck. Into the absolute. What does this mean? I can tell you exactly what it means. I understand terminology. It's a way of describing things. I understand reaching. Let me start from the beginning because I had the wrong button on. Tonight's presentation is merge into the absolute. We often use words to describe and understand their terms, general terms, to make a point. But if we really want to shave off the spiritual fat of your juicy spiritual steak, let's get down to what terms really mean. Merging. We often think about reaching for God as if God is something to be reached for and to. I get it. We get it. So let's narrow it down to what it really comes down to, which is it's not a reaching for, it is more so a reaching in, but in the reaching in, the best way to win is not to reach for, it's merging into the absolute, which is everywhere. To begin to melt yourself so much so they call it the rebirth or to be reborn or the rise of this phoenix and all this cool stuff. But it's about you dying, me and we dying to the self that we think that is so important that everything else pales in comparison. But it's truly about dissolving the ego and merging into the absolute, which is always, everywhere, all the time, always has been, is now, and forever will be. This is what is changing me. And I profess and say this, testify this, because I hope in some way, which I have no doubt, it will rattle you in such a beautiful way. You can see it. I'm so hyper excited. So let me share with you what started happening a few weeks ago that I'm going to share with you, sis bro, yo. You implement this, not about the amount of time, but the depth of heart. My dear Lord. Here we go. I will warn you now. What you bring to the spiritual table will become your bread, your manna. Whatever it is you are able, you have to be conscious. It's not a warning, it's a heed. It's power. This is what's happening for me. And if you have any testimony yourself, post it here. Send me a message. I will make a presentation around everyone who's awakening in your experience of it. That's the graduation for all of us. Here we go. So you see, it's not about reaching for God, nor is it about being saved in any way. It's about merging with the omnipresent. If you choose this path, prepare for what you know as you to vanish with no return. I'm going to leave you with that for a moment. There is a passion for God, but there is also a fear of God. As if God's going to cut your head off and do away with you. Well, it's really about cutting off our own head, our own ego-minded consciousness, fear of ourselves and the world. What you know is all that bunk and junk will disappear. That can be absolutely scary, to lose the identity of what we think is what we are versus knowing who we are. Once you begin to consciously merge, it is then you can offer your manifestation. I want this in my life. Partner, sexy partner, money. You shouldn't have money, it's sinful. Money, abundance, all these wonderful qualities of experiencing the human dynamic. Once you choose to begin to consciously merge, it is then you can offer your manifestation, because the power of manifestation, God, is in your hand. And at that point, it begins to happen because you are implementing your conscious, clear, free will. This exercise, conversation, love affair between you and God, I'm about to express to you. When you stand in absolute power, clearly, you don't have to keep asking. You just hold your asking, you're seeing your faith in the absolute power. And because you have divine consciousness all around you, it says, you can have it. I had a dream a few weeks ago with Satya Sai Baba. He came to me, so I'm looking at notes because I wrote this all down today for this presentation. So I'm going to be back and forth with you in this reality and this one. Satya Sai Baba came to me in a dream a few weeks ago and told me, as soon as I came to a state of full-blown consciousness, that's God, that's Satya Sai Baba, right? I dropped to my knees. He says, Keith, stand up. And I could literally feel his male body part on my leg. I felt his penis on my leg. And of course, that will take anyone back, what guy or girl. And then I realized, because I was conscious, this means something that I am yet attuned to. And I supplicated. I've been asking for something. And as soon as I was thinking, if you will, in the state of reality of the question, I was already being answered. You can have it all, Keith. And the you can have it all just so happens to be that 10 years ago, give or take, the first video I'd done sitting by a fireplace when my friend went to England watching over their house was titled, You Could Have It All. I'm reading over this dialogue. Oh, and so I contacted my sister friend Anjana and expressed to her, share with her my dream with Baba and how this felt a little sexually weird. She says, Keith, we here in this country, in her region of the world, don't see what you see as you do it in America. It represents a mental icon that God is trying to enter into you. Made sense. So my time with Swamji in an interview last year, Melinda was there. He said, Keith, do not worry about money because I wanted to leave the music field. He said, Keith, don't worry about money. Swamji foretold me a promise, a covenant of my future work. This is where the magic begins to happen of tonight's presentation. Dear Lord, he promised me something as my time with Sai Baba in the dreamscape. I want money. Yes, I'm selfish. I want some money and I want a lot of it. You can have it. Point being, I have been waiting for a long time, 8 months since that time with Swamji about the covenant of don't worry about money. only to come to realize that in my waiting for something, that's exactly what I have been doing, is waiting. And then I realized that I've been waiting. And I have not been allowing God to enter into me. Tonight's presentation is merge into the absolute. I've been waiting for the miraculous to happen and not seeing the miraculous all around me that is happening. It couldn't happen any other way. And this is leading up to the power tool I want to give you. So let me get right down to that. That's what I want to do. I have a lot of dialogue that I wrote today, channeling and vesseling. So what is this really all about? You are blessed, as am I. How do I do this technique? What is this technique? Are there any cautions? How do I do this technique? You don't do anything. You let it do you. Your doing of it is truly just the want to move into it. That's it. What is the it I want to move into? The part of you that we claim we want, but scared to death of. This is another call to aboard the train to Ascensionville that has definitely have been pulled out of the gate. You do not want to be late for this party. So what is it? Beginning of this presentation, I've been saying I went into hibernation. Shut the door. Under the covers. And I've been staring intentfully at this image. You can replace this image with your deity, your grandmother, a picture of your children, that which brings you absolute joy to your level of the highest understanding, that makes you feel all giddy and stuff. For me, it looks like this. So I went inside of myself, inside of my bedroom, which I live in, and begin to allow this into my third eye space. Close your eyes. You see that little swirl of purple and blue. And I begin to call out this particular deity's name, whatever your deity's name is. But this one happens to be Om Sri Sai Ram Gurudeva Datta, which means I basically recognize you as the Supreme Lord of the universe. Christ, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna. I didn't just go pray. I really meant it. So I allowed all the stuff in my third eye when we close our eyes, the swirly lights that we see behind the closed curtain of our eyelids. The eyelids are not open. We see black, but yet we see swirly lights. And I begin to move into this place, this space. When you close your eyes, you may see a horse. So you ride the horse. You play the game out. You may see a river. You've always wanted to go swimming in a river because it's been so many years. Well, then you take off your clothes and you skinny dip in the river. You may see a ballerina float across your field. When you close your eyes and begin to look at the pineal, and when the point of the pineal and the kundalini, which is happening in me, the kundalini begins to rise and the pineal begins to open. When these two touch points, the gate of God begins to manifest itself. And what you bring to the table, hopefully you're consciously able to be clear, or you will get what you want. Either way, this is what's going down from now on, 2023, and therefore. So when you go into yourself, in meditation and or prayer and or chant out loud or just pray internally, turn up the gas a lot. Fall so far inside of yourself that you question how far you're falling, and then push the envelope more. And find your deity and begin to stare into this gaze. You can close your eyes and see that deity because you've been looking at it for so long. That's all it's important, but it's also irrelevant. It's about letting the game that's happening on the screen of what seems to be projecting itself play out. It will look like a huge black room, a theater, and there are no lights on, so it's black. And all there is one spotlight, and it's what you're looking at. And whatever happens, the spotlight follows. A ballerina, you watch whatever it may be playing out on your screen. When you play it out, it becomes completely empty. There's no longer a reason to play the same movie. You've seen the episode of The Brady Bunch 5 times. It's irrelevant now. Now the stage becomes blank. This is another level. This is what's going on with me in a very integrated way. This is another level which we are blessed to be a part of this message. I am, at least for me, that is happening. Another level of moving into the merging into the absolute. When you begin to connect to your deity, Jesus, whatever it may be, I say this repeatedly because I know it butt hurt and people are butt chapped in many different ways, and that's the least of my intentions. But whatever you hold as sacred to yourself, and you become so enamored, engaged with it, and you hold your eye, your want, your desire to open up to it so fully, and you fall into that, and you stay with it for hours, if that is what it takes. The merge into the absolute is inevitable. I warn you, you are going to have to die. So you stay with this prayer, this mantra, Jesus, 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 Buddha, Krishna, Paramahansa Yogananda, Anandamayi Ma, that which means something important to me and so powerful. I don't have to know why I'm steadfast, fixed, and focused on it, but I am. So it has to be a way showing me to merging with the absolute. When I was in the cave the other day, in this prayer, I started to feel my Kundalini rise. This is something I felt here and there, but this was deliberate. In my call, by calling Swamiji's accolade, name, Om Sri Saram Gurudeva Datta, I recognize you basically as the Supreme Lord of the universe, the Christ principle, the place in the entire universe where everything is beautiful, connected, and serves all beings equally. My Kundalini started to move, and it felt beautifully uncomfortable. And I made a covenant with God in that moment. I said, push as hard as you like. Don't let me lose my sanity. I'm saying this out of responsibility. Push as hard as you like. Keep me sane. Because when you open the gate from your spine at its bottom to the top of the crown chakra, and that Kundalini begins to move into your being, my friend, what you are seeing will happen, and it requires a balanced one to understand. But as my Kundalini is being manipulated by Swamiji, I found myself on that stage, that auditorium, that theater, the place where acts, dreams happen, the theater of life, earth, the theater of earth. As I found myself there, I began to see this vastness, and I knew that every pebble from that moment on I threw into the theater, actors would soon come along and play out their parts. And I, as the director, will render the great reviews or the criticism. In this place, I felt the pressure in my lower back, and I made that covenant. In this place, I knew that when push comes to shoving it, I have to be responsible. And as this begins to manifest, I'm seeing these connections to the number one. I get it spiritually woo-woo that we see these 1111s. I'm seeing these 1111s, and they're coming true to me as per my dialogue with Swansea. So when you begin to open up your third eye and put it literally right on your imaginational third eye of your deity, and you stay in this. When I was in this place, in that magical dark room, I saw Swansea, I saw Satya Sai Baba, I saw Yeshua, Jesus, I saw other beings all around me. I said, oh my God, I've always known this. But you're actually around me. I said, we have been, are now, forever will be. So in this place of query, when you're in this divine space of knowing that the power is always around you, you have to be clear, because that which you bring forth can love you or compound you with trouble. Practice this. Call up something beautiful, however long it takes, daily. When you take a nap, on the toilet, close your eyes, connect with the power center of the pineal or the brow chakra, the Agna, and move into it and connect your all intention with all responsibility, and watch what begins to happen. When you stand in the power of merging into the absolute, you know you're there. It's impossible to not know that you're there. How can that possibly be? I'm there. That's the place to throw your simple intentional pebble into the pond. I'm seeing this happen. Be right back. Close out segment. Tonight's center of light, merge into the absolute. It's not a reaching. It's a letting. A letting devour you every second, every minute of houring of you. You're going to have to step into it so wanting. It's going to feel wanting. Wanting and wonky. It can be scary stepping onto a moving platform. But if we have been still for so long and complacent, we have to begin to move. Melanie said earlier, perfect.
She turned to me and told me life was not too easy unless you can let go. I lay surprised at the simpleness of her soul. Wasting away in a sea of uncertainty. She had stayed with me for days. I needed love in so many different ways. And as I watched, she floated through the room. And as I cried, she was there to dry them too. Hold me and don't let go. Hold me. Never leave. Never leave. the beauty of your soul. I turned away, her light was so blinding, the energy of her love. She said goodbye and turned into a dove. As I watched, she floated through the room. And as I cried, she was there to dry them too. Hold me and don't let go. Hold me, never leave. Hold me and don't let go. Hold me, never leave. Never She turned to me, told me life was not too easy unless you can let go. Reveal to me the beauty of your soul.
Welcome back to Center Life Foundation. Tonight we are speaking about merge into the absolute. You say you love God, so do I. How much? How much do you love your Creator? Do you love your Creator so much so that you are willing to die to be with Him? Either way, that is what needs to occur for it to ever happen. To merge into the absolute oneness from where we were to where we are, to where we hope to be through prayer and meditation and live this beautiful life we call Christianity, Buddhism, Muslim, whatever we do. But are we ready to shed that skin and merge into the absolute? When I've been doing this practice, closing my eyes and falling, calling, looking at this picture for me, God on earth today, for me, there is a depth there that words are not necessary and, what's the word I'm looking for? Blasphemic. And I begin to look into this picture, Shaktipat, the transference of energy. And putting my forehead to his in my imagination. You stay with this. I'm going to share with you what has transpired since this happening when I was told 8 months ago, Keith, don't worry about money. So I started this Shaktipat transmission with Swamiji. And in one of these experiences, money's coming to you today, Keith. And I can feel it. I can audibly hear his voice and other beings of light all around me. I know it seems weird, and you may say, am I really hearing people? And you say, you are. But I begin to hear Swamiji and others audibly. Money's coming to you today. And out of nowhere, someone sends me my baby mama asked me if something and said, I'll split it with you. I got $1,500. And a few days later, I keep hearing this. One thing I've been asking for is the ability, power, the understanding, the clarity of living a life without being a musician. I've done it for 30 years. So these are all signs that when I'm standing in the power, as I'm offering to you how to do is cover your head, whatever you need to do, and just fall. Call. Connect with your deity. Become a lover of your deity. A sexual, sensual partner with your deity. I mean, we're coming together with the willingness to lose yourself. Miracles that are normal occurrences for you will become miraculous. Sadhguru and Kundalini and third eye. When these 2 points come together, the gate to everything. God is everything, always and forever. Everything. It doesn't mean just good. It's everything. And everything belongs to you. And if we only could see it as the goodness it is, we will no longer be afraid of anything. There is no other way. Sadhguru, see you shortly. Tonight is Center of Light. Merge into the absolute. I understand the idea and the metaphor of reaching upward, outward, or even inward, but it's truly a merging to let it do a number on you, through you, to you. Sadhguru.
So what is Kundalini? Right now, I am speaking. This is Kundalini. You are alert and listening. If you are alert and listening, that is Kundalini. A flower is blossoming, that is Kundalini. A dog is barking, that is also Kundalini. Or in other words, the fundamental life force in the existence, we call it Kundalini. Now, within the system, within the human system, if you look at this as a kind of a life package, it's a piece of life. This piece of life is packed in a certain way with layers of this energy. One dimension of energy comes alive immediately because that is necessary for your survival process. The other dimensions of energy will not come alive unless you do something about it. Unless you're aware of it and activate it in a certain way, they do not come into existence. They remain dormant. The dormant energy is way bigger than the energy that is in use right now. To take care of your survival process, to live a physical life completely, to live a complete physical and intellectual life, you need to activate only about 21 of your chakras. Out of this 114, if about 21 of them are on, you will live a complete life. You will not feel any inadequacy. You will live a complete physical life. There'll be no problem with your life. You will think you're a great success, but you're only 21. That is less than 21% out of 114. Less than 20%. At less than 20%, you will feel like a complete life without any inadequacies. The remaining percentage of life, what is it about? It is not even needed if your intention is just to live well. If you activate this dimension of energy, other dimensions of life will open up. One thing is, are you ready for those dimensions? The question is not about whether it's good or bad. The question is just about, are you ready for it? Because even if the best things in life come to your life, when you are not ready for it, it will not be a good thing for you. In your experience, it will not be a good thing if something came to you when you're not ready for it, isn't it so? Even if it's the greatest thing, it may be the greatest thing, but it came to you when you are not ready for it, then it is not a good thing, isn't it? So are you ready for it is the first question. If you're ready for it, what can we do for it? What can we do to activate? There are various ways of doing this, many ways, but the Kundalini Yoga, are people familiar with Kundalini Yoga, practicing or… okay. Kundalini Yoga, I'm not making a comment about anybody, okay? Kundalini Yoga in its essence is the most dangerous form of yoga. I'm saying dangerous because it's the most potent also. What is most potent is always the most dangerous, if improperly handled. There are various kinds of energy in the world right now. Even the electricity is being manufactured produced in so many different ways. One of the ways that we do it is through nuclear reactors rather. It is the most efficient way of producing energy that we know right now, but it is also the most dangerous way, isn't it? When things go wrong, they go seriously wrong. When they're going right, it is the easiest and the best way to produce energy on the planet is nuclear energy actually. But when it goes bad really bad, like in ways that you can't fix it. So similarly with Kundalini Yoga, it is the most potent and it is the most dangerous. Without the necessary preparation and guidance, without expert guidance, constant guidance and observation, nobody should ever attempt it. But the problem is, books have been written about it and everybody wants to do the highest yoga. Nobody wants to start with A, everybody wants to start the alphabet with Z. This attitude itself is dangerous. What can be a life-transforming force can become a life-destructive force simply because without the necessary commitment and dedication and focus and understanding, it is being handled. Anyway, about rising the Kundalini. If the Kundalini rises, the dimensions of your life will change so rapidly that you must be willing to make the outside adjustments equally quick. Otherwise, things will fall apart in a big way. In the classical yogic traditions, there is a certain type of yoga we teach for people who live in family situations. There is a certain other type of yoga we teach for ascetics. In Isha we have both the forms. We have ascetic yoga and we have the general yoga. We will never teach you the ascetic form. That is the most potent way to do it. But it will demand a certain dimension of discipline and focus which your regular lives will not allow. If you do that kind of yoga, it will dismantle your outside life instantly. Now this yoga is not designed to dismantle your life, this yoga is designed to make your life happen better. When life happens better, when things happen better, you make more money, your business is going better, your profession is happening better, your… generally, unfortunately, your longing to seek the higher becomes slower. Yes? So in the real sense, it is not the good way to do it, but it's the only way it works in today's world. And it's the only way it works for majority of the people. For a small number of people, we can do it other ways. We can bypass all these things and just do very powerful ways of doing things, but it will dismantle all social structures around them, which is not good for everybody to do. So these are different dimensions. Kundalini Yoga, if it has to be practiced, you must be in a certain kind of atmosphere. You cannot live in social situations and do Kundalini Yoga. Otherwise, in the name of Kundalini Yoga, you're doing something simplistic. Otherwise, Kundalini Yoga can transform the way you are within days. Suddenly you find you are a stranger in your own home within 2 days of practice, because it will change everything about you. So can we raise the Kundalini? Yes, we can. One way is to create a conducive atmosphere so that slowly it rises. The other way is to provoke it in such a way that it raises quickly. If it rises quickly, then everything changes dramatically. If it rises slowly over a period of time, changes will happen slowly, you will be capable of handling these changes over a period of time. But if it happens very quick, then you will not be able to handle the changes. Things will look like things are falling apart. So there are different ways of doing this. How many ways? There are too many ways. I will not go into how many ways. There are so many ways of doing it. Essentially, there are 112 ways of doing it. There are 112 ways in which you can take this up. From the base to… oh, for this you have to know the structure, otherwise it'll become very elaborate. Out of this 114 chakras, there are 7 which we recognize as 7 dimensions. Out of this, 6 are within the body, 1 just outside the physical body. So if you employ these 112 methods, you will handle the 6th chakras. The 7th one you cannot handle. There are 112 ways in which you can attain to a chakra which we refer to as Agna. But from Agna to Sahasrara, there is no way. There is no way to do it. You just have to jump into an abyss. If you have to jump into an abyss, you should be insane. Or you should have enormous trust in somebody. Somebody says jump, and you are jumping because you have such a deep trust in somebody that when he says jump, it has to be good for you. You simply jump into a bottomless pit. So, the journey from the Mooladhara to Agna, there are 112 ways to get there. But from there to there is no way. It is just one jump that can happen in trust, in devotion or in madness. Choice is yours.
Welcome back to Student of Life Foundation, and we have been speaking about merge into the Absolute. Merge into the Absolute. It's not a reaching for something. It's not really a doing something. It's really doing nothing, which is a doing something, but none like we have ever done before. It's here now. Prayer is a phenomenal vehicle. Meditation and prayer, turn within itself, is a phenomenal vehicle. But that's doing things, and that's amazing. But is there something beyond simply doing those things? And I say, it's calling up that which is amazing to you. Your God, your child, you're that which is everything, and being with it so dear from the bottom of your butt, the earth aspect of your man, all the way to the top of your being, heaven, man on earth, heaven on earth. Be with it so much that these two come together. This is not hard. It's simply just what I'm saying. Put the covers over your head, go to bed early, and just fall into this thing. Sing your favorite song and fall. Well, Keith, I've done this before. Great. Just keep falling. It's all about finding the meaning and the reason and the why you would ever do such a thing in the first place, with ever really trying to find the answer to that in the first place. It's the turning of the wheel just because. You will know that you have reached the level that this presentation's summary is about, is when you lost sight of it being about your identity. You are actually in it just because versus I'm trying to go into this place to achieve a place. When you actually somewhat black out for a moment and you come back and you back into it, you've shifted to another level of experience. That is the next level. That void, that blackout period, in the black, the emptiness of space, stars are born in or birth. The emptiness, the nothingness that brings forth the everythingness, the somethingness This is what is integrating in me, and I can see in many of you is happening. We are due. So tonight's presentation overview is that same thing we all been doing. Follow that methodology if you need it until you no longer need it. That's kind of another graduation point. I can just do this in a matter of a moment. We've come from a crawl to a walk. Now we can begin to run in any direction at a moment's choice to do so. Merging into the absolute. We're already in it. It's about becoming conscious of the fact that we are in it. We all have our own place. And when we let go, your life is going to dissolve right before your eyes. You're not going to always be stepping like you always thought you need to, should do, would do. It's all going to just, the rug's going to be pulled under you. But you stay with this prayer, this ritual, as long as you can daily, how every moment you can, and just meaning it so deeply is that thing. It's that meaning it so deeply. I'm going to hold whatever deity or a beautiful idea in my vision while I put my sexual, that which is important, that which I want to erect to or receive to, that kind of things happen. And when you're in that space and you know you're in that space, throw your pebbles of desire into that ocean, that pond, and what will return to you in a matter of a moment will happen to you. I'm seeing this integrate, intubate. I'm getting numb from it all. It's so beautiful. And when you're in that space, the voices you audibly hear are real. Did I just hear my grandmother? You did. Did I really just hear? You did. This is the level of moving into the absolute, merging to understanding through the universal tapestry, divine matrix language, the universal voice, which is the soul that we all are united as, merged into the absolute. I love you beyond measure. Peace, love, and light.